welcome to our second webinar in a series of webinars focusing on innovation procurement, especially created for the needs of big science organizations. My name is Josef Kubinec. I'm from INPROCAP project. I've been working for 15 years in public procurement, and for the last 6 years, I'm taking part in different innovation procurement actions, mostly funded by European Commission, using tools like pre-commercial procurement and public procurement of innovation to help uptake of innovation. Today, I will be not speaking only by myself, but I have a dear colleague here, Jan Zahalka, who is also expert on public procurement. Uh, Hi, Jan, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. Thanks for welcoming me. I'm sorry for my plain background. I didn't know I should use INPROCAP, so sorry for that. That's a bad start for me from the very beginning. But yeah, thank you for having me. I have to say that I have 16 years in public procurement, so one extra year, as Joseph surely knows, and I'm mainly focused on a healthcare sector. So should I be using any examples? Easiest for me are complex medical technologies, and as you may well know, uh, healthcare and life sciences is a kind of hotbed of innovation as well, of complex technologies. And to maybe round it up, I also acted as a CEO, starting up a project in photon counting area of scientific development. So big science isn't completely foreign to me either.
Thank you very much, Jan. Sometimes I will address Jan also in the name of Honza, which is basically the same person. It's just the way how we say name Jan in Czech Republic. It's like Honza. So if I use that, it's still same person. It's great to have you here with us today. It's in fact what you said is very true. I mean, the what we see from also other innovation procurement projects in Europe, most of them, when we did the analysis also within other projects and for the European Commission, we saw that these tools of innovation procurement, like pre-commercial procurement and public procurement of innovations, are in fact mostly from the healthcare sector. So it's great to have you here. You have a practical experience that will you share with our participants, and let's move on. So. Well, agenda for the day. Warm welcome again to all of you. It's great that you are joining us today for, as I said, the second webinar on innovation procurement. We are following a specific route where we start from the general introduction. That was our first webinar. You can watch the recording on our website. This is the second webinar focusing on needs assessment. So important part of the preparation of any procurement doesn't really have to be only innovation procurement. So in the beginning, I will deep little bit into theory. I'm a lawyer. I like definitions and theory. So just really have the same understanding of some basic terms. I will present some of the methods for identifying unmet needs. Obviously, there are much more. There are many more methods, but we will share with you some very practical that you can use also in your work. We will have a short break, and then Jan will share with you his experience with writing the tender documents and seeing what does it mean functional requirements, what does it mean technical requirements, and then in the end we will have also interactive exercise. So you will do also some kind of work today, but nothing really hard. So what are the objectives of today to our session, to our webinar? As I said, I will and we will present you some basic definitions of what does it mean unmet needs. Why is it very important for innovation procurement to clearly define, identify also the unmet needs? What is the difference between needs and unmet needs? Why is it important in innovation procurement? We will, and you will hopefully then after the webinar understand the fundamentals of creating functional specification by interactive exercise. In the end, we will like you to learn how to describe needs in functional terms rather than prescriptive, and you will practice by this interactive exercise translating needs into procurement requirements. What I would like to point out is that 2 hour webinar is in fact not much time, so we will not go into very specific details of writing functional specifications. For in-depth training on some specificities of innovation procurement and also functional requirements, we will have a next year on-site training. The date will be really soon, and all the participants will also receive the invitation. Now to the question why needs assessment matters in innovation procurement. Let me start with the challenge many of you have probably witnessed. Organizations get excited about innovation, they want to be innovative, they allocate even budget for innovation procurement, which is always a good thing. And then they struggle to achieve meaningful results. Why? Because they are often approaching it backwards. They are looking for innovative solutions before they've properly understood the problems they are trying to solve. So, what does it mean? They skip the needs assessment phase, thinking it's a bureaucratic overhead, when in reality it's a foundation of everything. This is what we call the innovation paradox. The more eager you are to innovate, the more critical it becomes to slow down and assess the needs properly first. Here, I would like to share with you, maybe some of you know this diagram. This is a AFib methodology, step-by-step approach of or for innovation procurement. This is specifically for the pre-commercial procurement. What I would like to point out is that also here in this diagram, needs assessment is in fact the second step. It's really the crucial part of preparation of innovation procurement. But you, those who are working in public procurement or in procurement, you know that in fact the preparation phase of a public procurement is very crucial one. If you make mistakes in the preparation phase in a needs assessment, sometimes it's very hard to solve that during or when you already launched the tender or you even received the bid. So really it's important to focus on this part of the preparation phase of public procurement and for sure in needs assessment. Now coming to concept of unmet need. As I said, procurement innovation procurement starts with unmet need. You saw that also in a diagram of AFib methodology. Uh, so what does it mean? What is this definition about? What you see in front of you? Innovation procurement doesn't begin with looking at what's available on the market right now. It starts with identifying the unmet need, and this is critical distinction. Unmet need is essentially a requirement that public procurers have today, or this is important, one they will have in the future. What makes it unmet when comparing with a normal, let's say, need is that current products, services, or arrangements either can't satisfy it, or they can only do that at the excessive cost or unacceptable risk. So you can think about this also in this way. We are not just looking at what is missing today. We need to anticipate what will be needed tomorrow. And this, let's say, forward-thinking approach is what separates innovation procurement from traditional procurement. By starting with the need rather than the solution, we open the door to truly innovative approaches, but also the companies that can deliver better value, better outcomes, and better risk management for public services. Here is the crucial part. Unmet need must be described in terms of outcomes, not technologies. So it's always best to show that on the example. So at this example, you have on the slide, it's saying we need AI-powered software. We see this very often nowadays, of course, but this is not the need. It's jumping straight to the solution and probably limiting your options. The real need here might be we need to reduce our client response time from 48 hours to 4 hours. And you can leave it up to the market, to the companies, how they will solve your need. It can be through the, for example, software that utilize also LLM models for that, but maybe they use different technology that it's maybe safer. So see the difference. One prescribes the technology, the other describes what you are trying to achieve, leaving then room for innovative approaches you might have not have even considered. Um, when to innovate, or we can say when does this unmet need becomes apparent? So we have these four cases. So first, it's when the immediate problems affect service delivery. These are the issues that negatively impact how we deliver services of public interest right now. For example, we might face an acute technical issue that's disrupting operations, or you can find out that there is a budgetary or fiscal change that limit our resources. So in that sense, you need to still offer the services, but you need to reduce the cost. Or there is a change in behavioral patterns. Uh, Second case, this unmet needs become apparent, can be proactive improvement initiatives. So something looking at the future. This is about the public procureur's need or desire to improve the quality and efficiency of services in the future. It could be a new emerging operational requirement that calls for new features or improvements to daily operations over the mid to long term. Third, we see this also very often, is broader policy objectives. These are aimed at addressing mid to long term societal challenges. For example, we see this very often. Think about sustainability goals, energy efficiency targets, very important also for the big science organization facilities. And fourth and finally, we have then the legislative changes and the regulatory requirements. New laws and regulations often mandate that we deliver high quality or more efficient services of public interest in the future. The benefits of early needs identifications is, I think, quite obvious. So you allow yourself time for effective understanding of the need. I know that in public procurement, as myself, I'm also public procurer. The time is always the essence. We see it very often that the requesters come to us on very late, and I understand very much that then this is a difficult situation to think about how we can identifying the need, how we promote by identifying this unmet need, the innovation. But in a obvious, not obvious, but optimal situation, if we have enough time and we really would like to innovate, then we really need to uh, give ourselves time to clearly understand what is the need. Uh, Correct needs assessment is right base for the next phases of normal procurement, but also innovation procurement. For example, prior art analysis or state of the art analysis. We facilitate open market consultation afterwards if you are using this mechanism of talking to the suppliers. So when you understand your unmet need, then you also know what kind of questions you can then ask the suppliers. And then also we invest in, let's say, risk management, risk mitigation, because we are then prepared for the changes in the future. Um, why needs assessment enable success? Well, it's clarity, it's a focus, innovation, measurability, and buy-in. We will share with you the presentation later on, and you can dive deep in some of these specific points later on. What I would like to share with you before we start the discussion about the role of public procurement or role of procurement in these needs assessment is common pitfalls that we saw in other projects or other organizations. So first, it's a innovation for the innovation's sake. This happens when the organizations feel pressure to be innovative and adopt trendy technologies without the clear need. So, for example, couple of years ago, but we see it also nowadays. At least we see it also in the security, civil security sector, is a blockchain, and then of course artificial intelligence. These are all powerful tools, but they are not solution to every problem. Second, solution first thinking. I pointed out also in the beginning. Listen how people phrase their needs. If someone says we need the blockchain, uh, you can push back gently, ask, what are you trying to achieve? The answer might be that they are trying to achieve secure data sharing among multiple parties who don't fully trust each other. So that's the need. Blockchain might be one of the solution, but there could be others. Third is skipping end user engagement. Decision makers make assumptions about what end user need without actually talking to them. So we will address this way how we can talk with end users during our next session. Um, and then this skipping of end user engagement, this leads to solutions that look good in presentation but fail in the practice. And fourth, confusing wants with the needs. There is a big difference between nice to have features, and Jan at the end will talk about that, and critical capabilities. So needs assessment helps you distinguish between them. So here I have a question for you. If you can go to needs assessment in your organization example, uh, you can share your experience, or basically this one is quite simple question. So right here you can scan the QR code or go to mentimeter.com and insert the code 48981158, and I will stop sharing now. I will allow you to vote, and please, my colleagues, you let me know. Yeah, and I see it now also. You are able to vote, and I already see some results. I'm going to show you now the results of the voting. So from those that are present with us, three have experience with needs assessment in your organization, and 10 you don't have. So in this sense, I think this is a good opportunity for those who have not experienced or have conducted the needs assessment before to get some basic understanding what is a need, and now we will go also to session about the methods that you can utilize for the needs assessment. But this is also true for the people who have experience, because you can maybe find out there are also different methods that you are using. So thank you very much for the voting. So maybe now we have a time for Jan. If you have any points you would like to make for this session, maybe some of your experience with needs assessment, and then we can move second session on the methods of how we can identify the needs.
Okay, so thank you. So just for the results of the voting, which are rather overwhelming in the sense, but I still think that after the next session, after the next presentation, we'll see that maybe actually people are being a little bit too hard on themselves. Maybe they are actually doing a needs assessment. They just don't call it in this way. So they do it somehow, somewhat naturally, somewhat maybe spontaneously, but they are doing this. It's happening, I think, in the organizations. Maybe they are not calling it needs assessment, but I think it is still happens, and they will find out that they are actually doing it. But just my one small point I would like to make is that we will be speaking today, and we have been speaking about processes and about methods, which sometimes seem almost too simple, almost too natural. But for the sake of the outcome, it's very good to basically put the things in some boxes, label them, and give them some structure. So some those processes may be very similar to stuff you find out you are already doing in your organization. But by labeling it, by giving it special, let's say box, special place in your methodology or in your processes, brings out even more of the benefits. That's just my quick comment before we move on. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, let's dive in into some examples of methods that you can use for needs assessment. As I said in the beginning, there are many different methods. Some of more easier, some are very complex. Uh, because of the time, we will show you only let's say some, but there are different methods. You can, if you are interested in let's say needs assessment, then there is already a lot of materials also produced by different institutions, the European Commission, World Bank, and in fact one of those I will share with you is coming from the work of World Bank. Now to the second session. So now I would like to speak a little bit about the methods and approaches for identifying unmet needs. Well, there are examples of methodologies. As I said, there are really many methodologies. Jan will speak also later on when he will speak about the requirements and functional specification about other methods that can be also used for this needs assessment. It's also very important to, I think, distinguish. Right now, we are talking about the needs assessment, so really understanding what are the needs of the organization, going to the core of a problem, and then uh, Jan will speak then about the next phase, which is then writing the technical requirements. So you have the need, and you need to translate the need into requirements, functional specification. So basically, the document then, which is part of a public tender or tender documents, tender dossier, depends what kind of terminology you are using. So some basics methodologies are voice of the client, customer. Then I will present you, I think, simple five-step approach for needs assessment and identifying the needs. And then something that is called weak GIF wouldn't be great if. And then Jan will talk about again a different method called Moscow. So there are different ones that you can use. Uh, what does it mean? What kind of tools you can use when doing these methods of voice of the client or methods of customer? So we have something very informal, something also Jan mentioned is that you are basically probably doing that already. is to have these internal meetings and informal chat. So these are low barriers conversation involving only your organization representatives. You can think of these as a brainstorming starting point. They are great for getting initial ideas flowing without external pressure. Then something very important, what we see very important in innovation procurement is getting your senior management on board. These are crucial, and these workshops are then crucial from strategic perspective. You will need buy-in from leadership, especially when you are looking to secure additional financial sources for innovation procurement initiatives. So getting your senior stakeholders aligned early is essential for the success. We saw this importance of getting senior management on board uh, also in other projects. For example, iProcurement, which was focusing on creating network of public procurers in security sector and focusing on innovation. And what we find out there is that in fact, innovation procurement sometimes is a challenging process, and innovation by itself, for example, it's hard to reach the results that you saw, and sometimes you even fail. This is typical for R&D. That it means that you need to have senior management on board so they understand sometimes it can happen that also R&D activities don't lead to let's say success. But I think this is a part of research, right? Third one is focus groups with structured discussions. These can be organized around specific themes, perhaps service areas, policy objectives, or operational activities. What makes these valuable is that you can include both internal representatives but also external experts or key stakeholders bringing diverse perspective to the table. Fourth are the surveys. Obviously, this can be distributed by email or online. This is very good and useful for reaching broad audience or gathering quantitative data to complement your insights. And finally, customer and end user workshops. This is where you hear directly from the people who will use the solution you are procuring. Their hands-on experience and practical insights are really invaluable. Now I would like to present you this five-step needs identification process that you can utilize also in your organization. This is basically simple, proven methodology based on established practices in needs assessment. This comes from the World Bank Work Guide to Assessing Your Needs. So step one would be prepare. I know it sounds simple, but again, what Jan said, sometimes the basic is important. Define the scope of your assessment. Are you looking at one department or the entire organization? What's your time frame? What are your objectives? Two is engage. Identify and involve the right stakeholders and end users. We will dive deeper into this in a moment. Gather, use multiple methods to collect information. You can use different methods for voice of the customer that we spoke about. Analyze, process all the information you gather to look for the patterns. Um, and then step five is prioritize. Not all needs are equally urgent and important, and I will show you some basic method that you can use for that. So the preparation. Define your scope clearly. Are you assessing needs for a single department like IT department or across your entire organization? Critically also, what is your implementation time frame? Needs that must be addressed in 6 months require usually different approach than those with 3 year horizon. Second, set clear objectives. What decision will this assessment inform? Who needs the results? It is just the procurement team or is it also the senior leadership? What level of detail is required? This question shape your entire approach. And something that many people miss is to involve your procurement officers from the very beginning. They understand the legal constraint of public procurement law. They understand procedural requirements, budget realities, and timeline requirements. So bringing them early prevents wasted effort on needs that can actually be procured within your constraints. And I will come back to you also on what is the role of public procurement in this needs assessment at the end of the session. Step two is stakeholder engagement. This is about engaging the right people. This is absolutely critical. You cannot identify genuine needs sitting alone at your desk. You need four types of stakeholders. We mentioned already end users, um, the people who will actually use whatever solution you eventually procure. Uh, I come from the civil security sector, and for example, the innovation projects that are financed by European Commission in Horizon Europe projects, in the call they especially ask that the consortium must be and must include also the end users. So really, these innovation actions are need to be linked with the needs of end users. Second, decision makers. We mentioned it already. Senior management. These are the budget holders and strategic leaders who understood the organizational priorities and can commit resources. Third are the technical experts, your researchers, your IT department, operation teams, domain specialists who understand the technical feasibility and integration requirements. And fourth is a procurement officer who, as I said, is bringing the legal and procedural expertise. When you engage with the stakeholders, follow four principles. First, explain the purpose clearly, why you are asking for the input and how it will be used. Second, respect the time, be efficient and prepared. Third, listen more than you talk. Um, you are there to learn, not to pitch ideas. And fourth, document everything really into detail because you will need this documentation later on for the analysis. Now, what are the specific methods for gathering this information about the needs from different end users? So you can use a different methods. You can use, as I said, interviews, whether one-on-one or small groups, give you deep insights and contextual understanding. They are usually time intensive, but the quality, really getting the information from the end users, this is exceptional. You can then use, for example, workshops where you bring stakeholders together for facilitated group sessions. These are excellent for collaborative exploration and building consensus. When multiple departments share need, workshop help everyone align on the priorities. Surveys, you might have experience with that. These are the structured questionnaires to reach broader audience nowadays. You can use different online tools to collect, and basically these tools will already prepare some basic combination of the data and visualization of data that you utilized or that you collected. Sorry. These surveys work very well for validating findings from the interviews or gathering input from the larger groups. And then observation, sometimes it's called shadowing end users at the work. This can uncover the needs that might not articulate in the interviews. People often don't realize that this is something that the people outside of the knowledge base that don't understand. And Jan, I'm looking at you, and you are, understand what I'm trying to say, and then you will speak about that later. How this is very important. We can, when doing these interviews and workshop, here are some example of asking good questions. Um, this can be challenge focused questions to help people articulate current problems, like what prevents you from achieving this and that? What do current processes Where do current processes break down? What takes longer than it should? So these are just some examples of questions you can ask. You can then ask outcome focused questions, help people envision desired states. What would success look like? Is it remarkably powerful? Or try if you could wave a magic wand, if you could be a Harry Potter, what would change? And this gives people permission to think beyond current constraints. What capabilities are you missing? Focus on the gaps rather than specific solution. This is also very important in the pre-commercial procurement examples that I've been also part. For example, when doing the needs assessment, we really don't limit ourselves to the technology. We ask our end users how the optimal civil or police operation would look like, what would be optimal state, and then we go to the market and we present our unmet needs to them. We don't say these are the technology that you have to use that. And one suggestion is also avoid solution leading questions like would AI help you with this? Better would be how do you currently handle this? Analysis. So you collected all the information, you ask good questions, maybe even the right questions, and now you gather information from multiple sources. So you need to look for patterns in your data. Are multiple departments describing similar challenge that suggest a shared need worth addressing? Distinguishing between root causes and symptoms, people often describe symptoms. But you need to identify underlying causes. Validate your findings. Cross-reference what different sources told you. Test your interpretation with stakeholders. So, for example, you go back and ask, "Did I understand correctly that?" Don't assume consensus where there is none. And very important, in my opinion, is distinguish between individual preferences and genuine shared needs. And now, also, what is very important, you need to document everything clearly, write neat statement in functional terms. We will cover this in the next session. And finally, you have all of the information, and now you need to prioritize. Um, because this is something I believe many organizations struggle. You probably identify more needs that you can actually address with your resources, financial or personal. So you can use this three-dimensional framework for that evaluates urgency, impact, and feasibility. First, urgency. How soon must this need be addressed? Is it critical, meaning there are immediate operational risk, or is it important but not that time sensitive? Rate each need as a critical, high, medium, or low urgency. Second is the impact. Very important. What's the benefit of solving this problem? Would it be transformational for your organization, or is it minor improvement? A third, feasibility. Can you realistically procure a solution within your constraints? Consider your budget, timeline, and whether solution exists or would require development. And also consider market readiness. So what you do, you assign numeric values to each level, and then you multiply. Your top priorities are needs that score high across all three dimensions. A need might be urgent and impactful, but if it is in fact not feasible, then it shouldn't be your top priority right now. And here you see some example how that this matrix could look like the example from civil security crisis management example. So we will share with you the presentation later on, and then you can go back if you would like use this methodology. Now I come to again critical role of procurement. So why involve public procurement officers from beginning? Like Jan, do you have some insight into that?
Well, yeah, I would like I have. I would like to think I have. Yeah, I mean, because basically what I the shortest answer, and I know we are running short on time, would be that
We are fine.
the would be maybe perhaps the first bullet point, which means ensuring basically realistic and compliant specifications, because people who are experts in the fields, and I think I will speak about that later. People who are experts in the field, who know it ins and outs of certain technologies and certain problematics, often do have objective and understandable problems, or it's not their specialty, to be able to formulate the requirements in a way that is actually needed, and not only needed legally, which is a big part of this process, definitely, but also define them in a way that is comprehensible to people on a, let's say, lower levels of understanding of the problem. So the procurement officer, let's say, is very much needed from the beginning, I think, to basically drive and to give a structure to the debates and to the discussion about this. And sometimes it may even seem rude, but sometimes you need to basically cut off the experts and say, okay, we are not going there because that's too much detail. It's outside of what legislation allows us to do, and let's not waste time on this. Let's focus on this, because otherwise we won't be effective. So I think procurement officer needs to be there and needs to work sometimes what is being called also kind of devil's advocate, the person who basically asks uncomfortable questions, which is not a role. People won't have your photo on their board with a heart drawn around it. You won't be the favorite person for them, but it's necessary, and someone has to do it. It's a role that is vital to be able to effectively formulate the requirements. So
Thank you. Um, you are absolutely right. Uh, Today, we are one of the colleagues that was able to join the webinar. Peggy Wu, she's from the European Exfil. She's public procurement expert. She's with us in the INPROCAP project, and it's great to have you here also today. And Peggy, what do you think? What is the critical role of procurement? How you see that at Exfil, at the European Exfil? What is your experience with that?
From my point of view, early involvement of the procurement officer is essential. So procurement officers support to ensure the unmet needs clearly identified and the challenge clearly addressed, stating that the existing solutions are insufficient or not yet available on the market. Of course, with the support from ELO, which assists in the conducting the preliminary market analysis. Also, procurement officer then advise the most appropriate innovative procedure and support developing or identifying realistic requirements like the must-have requirement, nice to have requirements, and also the suitable selection and evaluation criteria, and engage the experts from legal or IT with the timely inputs on the specification. So let's say by understanding the requester's expectation earlier, procurement officer can help prevent incomplete or unrealistic requirements stated on the specification and ensure that the proposed procurement procedures can achieve in the intended outcomes. Very important is as it lowers the risk of having to redo the specification or fix the procedural errors, safeguarding the project timeline and also the procurement compliance.
Thank you, Peggy. And I
Welcome.
think we are three procurement, let's say, experts, and we are aligned with this. But this is the crucial point. Is also for other participants who are not procurement, who are from different domains. It's in your and for sure innovation activities. When you see that in the end it need to be procured, it's very good to go to your procurement department and ask, can we do a workshop together? Can we sit together and look at this procurement point also very soon in the project. So thank you very much, colleagues, for
Welcome.
this. Now we have one more question to our participants. So again, you can go to Mentimeter, you can scan the code, and we would like to ask you, what's your biggest challenge in translating needs to procurement requirements? If you have this kind of experience, this is an open question, so there are no good or bad answers. Share with us your view. And we will have also break. Now I will stop sharing. I think I need to switch to Mentimeter now. And I'm waiting for some answers to. But I think now you should be able to share with us your view on what's your biggest challenge in translating needs into procurement requirements. And this is not only question to the public procurement experts. This is also any question, or this is a question to any of you, because I think working for any organization that in the end needs to procure something, you were uh, sometimes in the shoes of somebody who is um, trying to get something from for your work, for your experiments, and then you need to go to the procurement department. So you were maybe thinking already about the solution that would like you uh, or that would allow you to perform your research, and then the procurement come to you and said to you that this is not legal in a way. So um, I will keep this open for 10 minutes, because now is also time for you to have a break. So now we can have a break. If you want, you can still vote. I will keep this open, but now we have 10 minutes break, and we will come back to you at uh, 11 o'clock, and then we will continue with some really practical exercises, and I will share also with you the results of your voting on this question, or sharing your experience with us. So again, thank you very much, and we will be back in 10 minutes, and we will start at 11. Start at 11. It's 11 o'clock, and I suggest that we continue now. Of course, people might be still on the break, but they will join us. I will share with you now the results of this word cloud exercise. So, what does it mean, word cloud? You will see it right now. And so you should be able to see all the answers collected through this online exercise. And basically, the word cloud means that the word that come most often is the largest. So we see here semantics, but we see also the technical details. We see the dictionary and technical issues, and I think this goes very well with what is Jan going to talk you about, is about uh, the language that we are using when translating needs into the procurement requirements. Something that is very obvious for the requester, and it can be IT department, it can be researcher, it can be whatever. They usually know what they want. They are expert in their fields, and they think that, well, this is so obvious. I don't have to put this from my need to the procurement requirements. So, Jan, maybe you can share your view on the results of this word cloud, and then you can, of course, continue with your part of the presentation.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, it's I think for us as a lawyers by trade, it's nice that or nice. It should be nice that people see the semantics as a challenge, and I think this is uh, with risk of sounding like some kind of new age strange BS guru person. It is what we are talking about actually, and I think I will be talking about as well. Mostly comes down to one word, which would be communication, because semantics, meaning a meaning of words, means communication, and it means communication is a way of interaction which goal should be understanding. And we are talking, and we will be talking about methods of understanding, understanding each other. And in this way, I think this is a perfect bridge to next part of the presentation. So
Thank you.
it works wonderfully, and I will now, I think, try to share my screen and continue with the presentation. So
Yes, yes, please, you can share your screen. I will
Mhm.
here point out like what is your biggest challenge in
Mhm.
translating needs. I see procurement department, so we come back to that.
It's yeah, we are as a procurement officers, we are the, let's say, disruptors of peace, and we are the people who are often blamed, obviously, for the stuff happening. But that's the cross we have to bear. That's the nature. So that's the nature of of our job, and such is the reality. So. Functional and technical requirements. I will go. I think I will be, and you will find I will be a little bit less structured than Josef, because Josef is a master of structure. So I'll try to I'll try my best. So just a quick check. You all see my screen. A quick note from Josef.
Yes, yes,
Okay, good.
we see it.
So great. So let's get to it. So disregard the time frame. We move it a little bit as it usually happens in this kind of cases. Understanding functional requirements should be quite easier, and I think after the first part of the session, we are almost there, and we will try to speak more about methods, how to think about this stuff, and also how to organize around functional requirements, and about communication again in the team. And I'm hearing myself speaking about communication and team, and it sounds really cheap, but believe me, it's meant, it's heartfelt, and it is basically, it is the ground for all we can achieve. So what are actually functional specifications? Let's get to the topic. Functional specifications mean what Josef already described. You are not eluding, and you are not helping yourself with defining already basically way how to solve the problem. There was a very nice example of AI and of blockchain being basically mean to an end, and being cause and effect being exchanged in the process. And I also do have some kind of examples, and I think many of you may find themselves very familiar with some of these examples, and especially I would say in the scientific fields and in the science fields, which I count medicine and healthcare science as a part of. The experts usually do have a tendency to basically try to find a solution, and by trying to find a solution, you are prone to come up with the solutions instead of the open definitions. So this is exactly what Josef spoke about, and because you are the one usually giving the answers, sometimes it's very hard to switch to being the one who makes the requirements or who poses poses the questions, because your whole life is about finding answers. But I think if there are scientists among you, and I'm sure there are, you would know, and I think it has been already addressed in a little bit different angle, that sometimes the questions are as important as the answers, as the solutions, and asking the right questions is a key in here. So this means that what you need to do during the procurement, and you need to do, even if you are procuring not innovation, even if you are procuring something very basic, it's always, and I implore you, it's always beneficial to take the step back and go to see, let's say, broader picture. And by so someone is reorganizing their office at the moment. So yeah, just maybe ask you to mute your microphone. Thank you. So back to this, you see that when you see a tender documentations, more often than not, you see the, let's say, the column on the right more often than the one on the left. And there are also challenges to functional requirements because, for example, and Josef, I think, can attest to this one, one of the simplest principles and pitfalls and the catches of defining anything, define your requirements, whether functional or technical, is when you define something and you request something, at the same time, you need to be prepared, you need to have a method to then check it and to see whether the bid, let's say, or the solution you are being offered, whether it fulfills the goal. Because the basic principle of public procurement is a level playing field for everyone, no discrimination, equal treatment. So if you define something, you need to then request it, you need to insist on the requirement, but at the same time, you need to be able to, beyond any doubt, to check whether the bid fulfills it or not. So basically what I'm trying to say during this slide is you are always walking on a very tight rope, and you are basically going on a line between being too broad and too non-specific, to the extent that you can't even tell if the bid fulfills your requirement or not. And on the other hand, being too specific and being too narrow in the definition. And finding this middle ground is let's say the part of the job and of the art of the procurement officers to be able to find this really this middle ground and to find a balance. This is a question of balance. So also, well, maybe one thing that you will find, and procurement officers are all too familiar with it, is that when you get the set of requirements from the internal customer, let's say, from the requirers, and if you get a set of requirements which are written in the way it is on the right, that means camera resolution, precisely pixels, precise, super precise, I would say suspiciously precise specifications, sometimes you will find that these specifications are taken from a specific brochure or from specific material, for specific marketing materials of certain suppliers. And that is something which is not only, let's say, functionally wrong, but it's also legally very very dangerous area, let's say. So when you are getting from your inner customer suspiciously super specific requirements, it's maybe a red flag to go and to investigate a little bit more in this, because chances are people were writing those requirements down with a specific solution already in their mind, and not only specific solution in a sense of technical solution, but also maybe even a specific supplier or specific product line or products. And this is something that that is borderline basically illegal in public procurement. I just ask Josef, unmuted himself, so you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you, but in fact, the solution to that, and now we go into, let's say, more procurement details of writing the requirements, is that you allow, even if you are using the technical requirements, the ones on the right, you allow the ranges, right? So you wouldn't write just the camera resolution and very specific resolution, but you will write it in a way that you would use the word minimal resolution is this, and everything higher is acceptable. If you have for example only the limit of the range, then you would put in these technical requirements the range of, let's say, the pixel quality or resolution or yeah objective the lens here. So this is just one way how to address this situation, but this is in the case of technical requirements. Thank you.
Okay, so just the last comment, and I'll move to the next slide. I promise. Is that sometimes what I see, or sometimes very often what I see with medical technologies is that you basically have a set of technical requirements, very specific, and then there is a magical sentence at the end which says, or a different solution with equivalent user effect. So basically, this is the way how to merge basically functional and technical requirements. But I must urge you to always perform an internal test as to, am I able to then establish, while going through the bits, am I able to actually establish whether there is this equivalent effect or not? Am I able to check it? Am I able to control it? Then it may work. But let's move on, and then we go from general to specific again. Functional requirements are important, and why I'm spending so much time on this topic is that it is generally deemed to be the more or maybe most innovation-friendly approach, quite logical, and because you are not limiting yourself to the already existing solutions, and you are basically tapping into market and letting the people basically, or letting the suppliers offer you solutions instead of you preconceiving the solution. So openness and flexibility are nice words and to describe. And I think this is kind of self-evident that if you want to innovate, you need to speak about the function, not about the concrete technical requirements, because then we are basically circling in the already existing solutions. That's obviously, and I think this is apparent from previous slides and from the table and the discussion about it. Does this mean that we should completely abandon descriptive requirements? We can't really. There is a role for those. We need to usually set some totally minimum floor requirements, and I will speak about that later. But so we basically need those, but those are both tools, and they must be used complementarily. They must be used in complement, both of those, and you are combining them and basically creating the perfect cocktail, which should lead to then having a nice tendering procedure, having a nice tender and buying something of real use for the end user, which should be the goal ultimate, not the procedure itself. So Josef presented some ways how to basically think about or how to establish what you're needing. This one, in the recent years, this Moscow maybe could be renamed somehow to maybe don't bring any political connotations, but anyway, this is how it's called, and obviously it derives from the abbreviation of the initial letters of the four categories we are working with. And again, this ties into what I've said at the beginning, which is that basically this is something that I think we are all intuitively doing while establishing our basic requirements. but sometimes it really helps, and it sounds super simple and almost childish in its nature, but sometimes it really helps if you basically just write this down, these categories, and then you force yourself to fill in the categories, the boxes, with a couple of bullet points. And by this exercise and exercising it in a cooperation with other stakeholders, sometimes helps to bring out more than when we are just intuitively jumping straight into formulating the requirements. So just to spell out this prioritization framework, we are talking about must have, should have. Must have and should have, those are often categories which then reflect whether we set a minimal requirements, or maybe we use some value-based approach, or we basically give some bonus points, let's say, we to certain solutions. Could have, nice to have features as well, but could have is basically more of tapping into the market and seeing what is possible. So you are not only specifying what you really need, what you would want, what you would prefer as in the letter categories, but now you are actively looking at what is possible. And this already kind of fosters not only innovation, but fosters thinking a little bit outside of the everyday box. And obviously, and this is sometimes important in tenders, also define what you certainly do not cannot have, let's say, what you won't have, because as we know from legal theory and maybe theory of expression and of a language logic, let's say, uh, definitions can be positive and can be negative as well. So by saying what you don't want and what cannot be supplied, you are creating a negative space, a negative definition, creating a positive space of what you are actually asking. So don't be afraid to actually even think in this way and formulate your requirements by negatively saying, I don't care, let's say, but what I really don't want is this, and this. And by this, you are already creating a requirement framework. Well, we basically that there is a slight overlap in this slide with what Josef was speaking about, and all what I was speaking about is basically can be structurized and can be seen in this 8 categories. It continues in the next slide, so it's 4 and 4, just for the sake of readability. But let's say that the first 2 categories are talking about who to talk with. Then we have 4 speaking about function, about, let's say, what. And then the bottom of the next slide would be how to do it. So who to ask, I think Josef already elaborated on this one. And this is a voice of customer, obviously. I would just maybe implore you and add to this one, and it ties together with the stakeholder mapping. End user, usually, the first thing that comes into your mind is end user is the person who uses, let's say, some piece of expensive machinery. Could be some detector, could be some analyzer, could be, let's say, I don't know, military plane, super complex technology. But then when you take a step back, you actually learn that, yes, from 8 to 4, let's say, there are a couple of guys, couple of scientists in the white lab coats going around this and using this machine, and they should have say in what this machine needs to do. But let's say after 4 in the afternoon, cleaning stuff comes in, maintenance stuff comes in, and they should have a say in this one too. It is wonderful to have the best piece of machinery in the world, but if it's a nightmare to keep running, if it's a nightmare to I don't know, clean around and keep the working conditions in a legal order, let's say, then maybe this probably isn't the best solution. So maybe you shouldn't only think in a very strict sense of an end user, but you should also think about the whole about the whole, let's say, caravan of people who need to take part in upkeeping and running, let's say, this machine. So mapping stakeholders, knowing who is the customer, and including everyone, very important. Functional requirement analysis and minimal viable requirements. I think we have already basically addressed this one. Those are the basic methods which are intuitively applied by everyone basically taking part in any kind of this undertaking. So I think we've already discussed these in quite a length. Total cost of ownership, just TCO, just want to point this one out. I can see it in different fields that we are slowly shifting, and it also has some, let's say, environmental considerations and consequences. Not thinking about obviously buying of the stuff, but also thinking about maintenance costs, operation costs, warranties, service conditions. Those are all things that maybe you would be surprised, but in my reality, in the Czech Republic, in a healthcare, let's say, healthcare market, you would be surprised how often the procurers or the procuring authorities completely disregard the costs of anything beyond just the purchase of the thing. So this is definitely something to be taken care of. And I'm sorry if this is complete basics for you, but from what I see in the market, sometimes this is really being overlooked. Risk-based specification. This is something that Josef was, I think, already addressing to certain length. But it is very good. And again, sorry, but in the medical field, not only speaking about what the system or about the machine or whatever I'm purchasing, whatever it does, but also thinking in a sense, what would happen if it doesn't work? What would then happen? And again, it's about seeing the broader picture and discussing the possibilities of basically, let's say, breakdown, or what if it's not working. Very often opens completely new problems and completely new issues which need to be solved before running the tender. Benchmarking and market research, I think this is quite standard supplier market request for information, comparing with peer organizations, etc. Maybe comparing with the peer organizations would be something that I would emphasize. I know it's very hard when we're talking big science and we are talking super basically spearheading the scientific and the knowledge basically horizons of humankind, to put it like this. But sometimes maybe different university, different faculty, different organization bought very similar instrument or very similar system or machine just the last year. Ask them, write them email, communicate with them. You don't need, sometimes I know we are speaking about innovation, but you don't need to invent wheel every single time. Sometimes the experience works quite well. And the last part of this one would be iterative drafting and validations, which mean, I know this is the most boring part and people hate you for this one, but you just need to write a specification, refine them, run them through the people, refine them again, run them through the people again. I don't know if there is any artificial intelligence or IT method how to make working without this, but I think this is a painful process, but it's completely necessary. So this would be really in a fast, let's say, drive by all these methods. It's I'm sorry, maybe running a little bit faster, but as Josef said, to go into more detail would require much more time and should be done and will be done in a different on a different stage. Josef, you unmuted yourself, so you want to comment
Yes,
again?
you are absolutely right. We will go into more details on on-site training, but I already mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is a slide you will have at your disposal, and these are just some of the ideas why functional specifications foster innovations. And I think we quite went through these. So I think I can keep this slide without any comment for the sake of timekeeping. Josef, I think you wanted to comment on this
Yes, yes,
hospital example.
there are several examples of using functional requirements. This one is specifically from pre-commercial procurement from Lombardy region in Italy. There was a Nicorda hospital, and so they described the need in this technique I mentioned in the beginning. Wouldn't be great if and they this continued. We had an automated system to move around hospital beds that could avoid collateral effects such as accidents and functional limitations that affect nursing personnel and social health operators who are moving around hospital. Um, so this was described neat, and then they went into the functional specification. They have three lines, and the first was a life cycle. There was installation, startup, and management. And I'm sharing just here with you the examples of how such a functional requirements can look like. And so what they write there was it must be very easy for operators to quickly learn how to use the device. The device must be easy to install and use with no need for calibration and adaptation. What is very important is adaptation. Uh, and it comes back what you said. Sometimes you can write in requirements, functional or technical, in a way that we something don't want. And this is example of we don't want that there is additional calibration adaptation needed to use this technology. So, what was the outcome? There was a development of a new and cost-effective automated universal medical device for moving hospital beds. And you will have our presentation, and you can look into more details of this example. And they have really a nice on the left functional specification, and also the ways how they can actually evaluate if the requirement was fulfilled by supplier. Okay. So you can go on.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I can't really definitely watch the videos which are available for this project. It's uh it's spectacular, and it is a lot of work. I grant you that it's a lot of work, but this is a perfect example of the innovation. Moving forward, prepared another questions, and I would kindly ask you to maybe try to answer, and be be frank with yourself, be candid, and think about this is on a spectrum. So let's please choose one of the spectrum. The spectrum is not complete, but it would be wonderful if you share your experience, and basically let us know what is uh, what is uh, what is the ratio, let's say, in your organization, whether you are often drawn into a myriad of specific pixels and megabytes and seconds and centimeters, or whether you are more broad in your definitions. I'm watching
I will,
Joseph.
yeah, I will share
Uh,
the
okay,
results of the voting now, and then you have to switch back again,
definitely,
Honzo.
definitely. Okay.
Now I use your Czech word, Czech name, sorry. So let's see the results. Have you used functional requirements in practice? So yes, frequently, zero answers. Yes, but only few times, two. No, but I have been considering it. One, I have never heard about the concept. So it's for those of you, and you see also these webinars are basically the way how we can introduce the basic concepts, parts of innovation procurement to all kind of stakeholders in big science organization. So obviously we have public procurement experts here with us, But we have also people who are not that familiar with public procurement innovation. So this is the, let's say, creating the base ground. And then more information will be available on our website. And early next year, we will launch also a learning platform that will be available on our site. And you can go then to each specific module and learn more about specific topic, for example, needs assessment. So yeah, these are the results. Thank you very much. And you can go back to your presentation, Ian. And maybe we can go slowly to the exercise, so we have some fun also. I will stop sharing now. Yeah. Yes, we can see your presentation, but you are muted.
Yes, sorry for that. Okay, let's move to the interactive exercise. And in the best spirit of this seminar, we thought about, wouldn't it be great if we could make it interactive with the work in groups while being online? So this is very innovative for me, actually. So we do have an interactive exercise prepared. Again, disregard the timeline. We'll just make do somehow. This is the activity when we will divide you participants into, well, small groups, into groups, let's say, and each group will be given a specific challenge and a specific, let's say, common use object, and just for you to draft a couple of specifications for buying these. I know we are all, or you are all, big science organizations, but for the sake of being able to gauge it, to be able to understand your way of thinking, we wouldn't put there any ion lasers and super microscopes, but we put there everyday objects so that people across the fields could understand and could have their insight into this. So sorry for maybe keeping it overly simple. And after a couple of minutes of your internal group working, then we would like you to share the results with the rest of the attendance. So it would be nice, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be great if we have for each of your assigned object you will be procuring in this exercise, let's say three. Let's keep it at a low, but if you want more, 3 to 5 must-have parameters. Give us 3 to 5 must-have parameters. Try to identify at least three nice-to-have parameters for this object you will be buying. And then, because as we said, and I hopefully demonstrated, questions are sometimes as important. Identify questions you need to ask your internal customer, and you are not able to move forward without these questions being answers. Try to obviously be clear and maybe prepare and identify one person in your group who would be then able to present it to the rest of the seminar. And during this time, me and Josef will be joining each of the groups for a certain time. And I kind of enlisted Josef to play a role of your internal customer. So should you have any questions to your specific object, ask Josef. Josef is your customer in this exercise. Now finally the object. One group will be buying a car or making a definition of a car for CEO of your company. Then let's buy coffee machine or kettle, whether you're coffee or tea person, electric kettle for office use. Office chair and smartphone for a managerial smartphone, let's say, would be the assignments for groups 3 and 4. Sorry, moved. So
this is then the presentation after the meeting.
This is then the presentation. Just be prepared to have the presentation for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's maybe 2 minutes and just in an oral form. Now, Lucia will divide you into the groups. You should have the name of the group. It should be visible, and then you work on a given subject of the tender. Me and Jan, we will join. I think, Honzo, we have to do it by ourselves. So let's start. When we are divided also in separate groups, let's both of us move to number one, okay? So, Lucia, you
Okay.
can start dividing
Yeah,
people.
I'm opening the rooms.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think we are all back. Thank you for your hard work. I hope you had also some fun. Sometimes it's important to have also fun in the work. Jan, I
Yeah.
leave it up to you now.
Oh,
Maybe we can go one by one to each group, and they can present three must have, three nice to have, and some questions. Let's
no,
keep it 2 minutes.
precisely. So no need to speak more. Just I would ask someone from the first group to present us their findings, and could be even sharing the screen if you have some notes you want to share. Definitely. Thank you. So someone from group one.
Okay, so I think you can hear me now,
Yes.
and you can also see my screen. Okay, so we should buy a car for CEO, and in our group, we have discussed also the habits of the CEO. So we have discussed it with you, Joseph. You was our potential CEO. You have told us that you use public transport and on a daily basis, and you want to change this habit. So you enjoy it, and you also think sustainable. But 2 or 3 times during the week, you must travel to the meetings at flexible time. So maybe we have also gave the additional question. So what is the weekly range of your traveling on these meetings? So we will maybe recommend to you or to have a must-have parameters to maybe rent a car or maybe to procure a taxi services from maybe Bolt, the Uber, but the must condition would be the availability and also the reliability that you will have the transport from the office to the meeting where do you need. So this would be must have parameters. And if this solution would not fit for you, so we have thought that maybe we will buy or maybe a rent a car. It could be an electric car. And in this way, when we go to rent, we will prefer longer warranty, also that the service is included, and maybe we will in this part be interested about the sustainability or sustainable goals at your organization. If this is a topic for you and if this maybe could represent the company you are as the CEO representing. So maybe this could be also the way of thinking.
Hmm.
So we will
Thank you very much, Tomasz.
go in
Yeah.
on in this solution, but maybe the other participants of group number one will would like to add something. So I will stop sharing my screen and I will unmute myself.
Thank you very much. Just for the time being, we can move to the group number two. But what I like here is also that but we discussed it, that you don't only think about the car, but you think about the needs. So what is the need? And what I then like also is if for example you would go in a way of renting the car or using the service as a Bolt or Uber, then the reliability would be issue. So would it be possible to have this kind of reliability clause into the contract, and to stipulate that they have to be available from that time to that time, and they need to arrive to the, let's say, office within 15 minutes of requesting the service. If not, then there will be a penalty, so some kind of KPIs. This is also very important when procuring the services. So thank you very much. Maybe group number two, if we can have. I know we are running a little bit on time, but if you have time, please stay with us.
Who is group number 2?
That was yeah, that was the office
Coffee machine. Huh?
coffee machine. Yes,
Okay.
please.
I try to restart the camera now. So, the coffee machine, actually, we would like to have a coffee machine or everything, all function inclusive. And one a little bit higher technology will be that we would like to, there's a possibility to order the coffee through our handies in advance. So we just set a timer, then we can order the handy and the coffee machine should be prepared at that time. So the must-have requirements that we have is like easy to clean. We would like to have milk foam and the boiling water functionality. So the nice-to-have requirement will be that we would like to have an coffee beans compartments with different type of coffee beans, and also decaf coffee beans apartment or coffee filter or coffee powder up compartment, and also not noisy, and there's a functionality to filter the water. The question we are asking for our internal customer is like about the budget, the delivery timeline, the size, the usage demand, and so on. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Very good work. Very, very, very organized. Jan, do you have any input to the coffee machine?
No, it's great. I would just maybe, but my personal idea would be maybe to stress the noise more, and maybe the question should be whether the coffee machine is located in the same room with other people, or if it's in a separate room like a kitchen, which is outside, because then you can obviously ignore the noise, or you can work with it. But it's all just this is just a user case scenario, let's say. But yeah, very, very, very organized. Thank you very much.
Group number 3 was
Office
office chair. Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's me. Yeah, so we had a sort of a classical discussion on the must-have, economic, and we had need to it has to be safe, it has to comply with standards, and we need to make sure that it has a guarantee. And then we had a number of questions also, more sort of where are you, how are you working, and that led us to thinking that actually we think that our task, the office chair, that you had asked us the wrong questions, and that it can also, I think, very often be the case that what we had, the question, if you really wanted us to be innovative, then the question you should have asked us is, we need something that allows us to be by the computer at a desk for the full day so we can access our keyboard and that should have been, and then from there we should have started thinking, okay, how could that look? Perhaps it's not an office chair you want or you need. Yeah, so that's basically, and then I found some office chairs on the net that looks very different. And then I found some fancy chairs, and yeah.
Yes. And this kind of exercise and finding, digging into what is the real need of the internal customer can be then maybe good source for, if you have obviously time, open market consultation, preliminary market consultation, even in the case of the chairs, right? You you present the need, and then you leave it up to the market. Like, do you have something new, state of the art, the way how we can cover this need of our customers? They need to sit at the computer or be at the computer. Is there any other way how to achieve the need? But again, very well structured. Thank you very much, and I like the liked also the pictures. And the last one is the mobile phone. And then we had the discussion also what is really what is the need and what the customer want, because I'm an internal customer, and I said I want orange iPhone, and that's I write as a requirement, a request to the public procure department. So
Yes.
what would be your points?
Okay, so that we put in the nice to haves. Maybe it is a must have. That would depend on the customer. But in the must haves, we have, since this is for a manager, we have security, access to company files and platforms, and identity verification. In the nice to haves, we identified due to your input the smartphone color and maybe satellite connection so that the manager can have connection everywhere, even without Wi-Fi or mobile data. We did have a lot of questions like processing power, if there are must-haves in here, or if it would be just a nice to have. Then what functionalities are needed outside of the office and how often do you need them? How many hours of battery are necessary and with or without a power bank? And if there are any nice to have peripherals like an extra screen, a scanner for documents, an external keyboard, things like this.
Thank you very much. Very well thought, I think. And one thing that I would point out is, and this is also from my external experience, we did a procurement for 7,000 mobile phones. And then the internal and the phones were delivered, and then the internal customer asked, but where are the screen covers and where are the covers for the phone? And then we find out that not the internal customer, nor the procurement department thought about the peripherals or external. So this goes well with what Jan said. It's sometimes the requester think that this is so obvious that the procurement departments know it, but then the procurement department it's not that well known, or yeah. Um, Thank you very much for all your input. It would be great if you can share this with us. Now we have time for the questions. And I know we are running late of time, already 10 minutes after, but for those who are still with us, we can have a questions. And then I will also invite you for the next webinars. Unfortunately, I cannot access the chat. So if there are any questions in the chat, maybe somebody can read them.
I think we successfully deleted the whole chat when we switched to the rooms. So, I mean, that means no questions. But I don't think there were many, right? Or any,
Yeah,
actually.
there is no question now.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there are no questions.
But if there are any questions, feel free to ask now in an open, safe floor. If not, then I would still ask Jan to share his last presentation, and I will just invite all of you for our next hybrid trainings and webinars for the next year. Can you share it, Honzo? You are muted.
I'm trying. Is it...
Now we see the debrief.
Okay, so
So-
the debrief, that's something for you maybe to read and just think about whether your way of thinking was in line with this one. I mean, we are going straight. I think we are going straight to the plan for training. So,
thank you very much. And I will now invite you for our next hybrid training. It would be available also online. It's going to be on the next step in the innovation procurement cycle, which is the market analysis in the context of innovation procurement. We will speak about state of the art analysis. We will speak about creating the use case, taking the keywords from the use case, and then using the IPR, intellectual property rights search, and other tools to find out if, in fact, the need and the technical and functional specification can be addressed by existing technology on the market. If not, then this is a sufficient base for the innovation procurement, like pre-commercial procurement. We will have then next year webinars on preliminary market consultation. We will have also practical training. And you, as registered participants today, will get the invite for all the webinars. As I said, next year, the recording from the webinar today, but also previous one, is available on our site. You will receive the email with the link to the recording, also with the survey about your let's say satisfaction with the webinar. So please answer also. It's very important for us because then we would like to take your input and make the future webinars and trainings even better. Now, maybe before I say last goodbye, Jan, would you like to share some last, let's say, very important messages? I know you are very good in this philosophical thinking and giving us strong messages.
Well, yeah, way to set me up, but yeah, say something clever and philosophical. Okay, thank you. No, I mean it's great. It's great working with a group of people who are obviously thinking analytically and who are you are a subsection of the people in the area who are trying to learn something, and I'm just very thankful for the possibility or for the interaction. And the takeaway would be, and it sounds really corny and it sounds really cheap, but it's the communication. And I would really, last thing, I would really implore you to write the things down, do the need boxes, and do the do's, don'ts, must have, should haves. I know it looks a little bit like a children's game, but I think we've all experienced that by formulating it, putting it down, talking with people about it, ideas get clearer and clearer, and the communication is the key. Basically, that's my if this should be the only takeaway in a one sentence, communication is the key throughout, within and without and outside of the company or organization.
Yes, and I absolutely agree. Try to ask as many questions. Obviously, we understand the time is always of essence in public procurement, and but you who are, let's say, not from the public procurement department but are requesters, also please think in front of your future needs and allow the public procurement time to dive deep into that. So with that, I would like to thank you very much. I would like to thank all the participants and your valuable time. And I would like to thank also Jan as a speaker and joining us today.